Hello, this is Brian Vickery, your Analytic Health Coach, and today we're going to be talking about day 13 of the 21-day Path to Primal. So from a nutrition standpoint, we're going to focus on what we're going to call the top of the spectrum. So we're going to try to get the best possible primal aligned foods that we can. Some people will call this like an elitist diet, and that's really not the case, because what you're going to discover is, one, paying a little more now is better than paying a lot more later in the form of co-pays and everything else, with all the health concerns that can come up with eating poor food choices. But you can also discover that over time you're going to have less caloric needs on a day-to-day basis because you're more fat adapted. So right now, from a food standpoint, look for anything that's going to be local and pasture raised, okay? So it's great if you go with organic. If you have to go organic, that's fine. But see if you can find local or pasture raised. You'll hear anything from cow pooling, where people will actually go in with a few other people and actually purchase to have a locally raised grass-fed animal butchered for them. The cost ends up being quite good compared to going and buying organic in a store, and you just know that you're getting good food and you know what went into that animal, because your local farmers, whether they're farmers or ranchers, do tend to be much more responsible and are not just dumping a bunch of hormones or pesticides into the food that you're then putting into your body. So if you can't do that, we can also look at local pasture-raised chickens and actually getting the eggs. So from the egg standpoint, again, if you can't go local, then you can go organic, and that's fine. You can usually judge that by looking at the yolks and seeing just how bright orange they are. Then you know you've got a good source for your eggs, and eggs are like the best possible food you can eat. Wild-caught fish is great. You know, we live in Colorado, so during the summer, I'll actually go do my own fishing, and then be able to, there's nothing better than being able to catch your own fish and then be able to grill it or throw it in a skillet or whatever it may be. Outstanding. Now, from a nut standpoint, generally, all nuts have some redeeming value in it, but the best ones are going to be macadamia nuts, primarily because they are so high in fat without having as much of the carbohydrates tacked onto it. They're still going to have carbohydrates, but your macadamia nuts are going to be about the most perfectly engineered nut that you could have for a primal aligned diet. So from an olive oil standpoint, we want to make sure that we get extra virgin. If we can get it as first cold pressed, that's outstanding, but just definitely make sure it's extra virgin and there's no additional additives. I actually saw somebody post on Instagram recently to where it said extra virgin olive oil, and up at the top it said something with like, now with canola oil added. Wait a minute, canola oil is toxic. Why are we doing this? So make good choices when it comes to olive oil, and keep in mind avocado oil and coconut oil are still outstanding for any form of cooking or baking, that type of thing. From an exercise standpoint, we're going back to doing our aerobic workout, 20 to 60 minutes. 55 to 75% of your max heart rate, which is at 180 minus your age. So get us a nice workout, 20 to 60 minutes again. And then from a lifestyle standpoint, this is a big one and could be perhaps controversial depending on how you're raised. And that is to get adequate vitamin D. And how do we do that? We go catch some rays. So we're going to go out in the sun and we're going to expose large areas of our skin. If you want to protect your face, your neck, backs of your hands, that kind of thing, then yes, you can put some sunscreen on that. But we need vitamin D. There has been many studies demonstrating that you're much more likely to get cancer due to a vitamin D deficiency than you are from direct sunlight. So we're not going to go out there and toast ourselves and come back looking, you know, huge red lobster type of thing. We're going to go out there until we can get a slight tan, okay? And that's going to build up over time, but expose large areas of your body to that, because you're going to get a lot more vitamin D out in the sun than you're going to get with some of these vitamin D fortified type of things. I mean, some of the examples that they show is that you can go, you know, they talk about a glass of milk being able to give you vitamin D. Well, for a glass of milk, you're going to get about 300 IUs per day if you drink a glass of milk. Instead, if you go out to the sun for about 20 minutes, 20 to 40 minutes, you're going to get 10,000 IUs of vitamin D. So do we want 300 or do we want 10,000? But I'm going to pick the 10,000. I'm going to get it in 20, 30 minutes. I'm going to feel good because I'm going to be out there with some of that negative ionic energy. Google that as well. That's of great value. And I'm going to get that vitamin D, which is going to just drive so many other things in my body. And it's actually going to reduce my cancer risk. So this is Brian Vickery coming to you, your Analytic Health Coach. I hope you enjoy this day 13 of the 21-day Path to Primal. Thanks.